What is up guys, and welcome to today's video where I'll be talking about West Ham 2016 and 17 transfer and squad prediction. So we're going to start off this video with looking at who could West Ham potentially sell. So starting with the player that already left is James Tomkins, who has left to Crystal Palace, and he's a centre back. So oh my gosh. As you can see, James Tomkins left to Crystal Palace from West Ham. I think it's a transfer that West Ham's trying to find a new centre-back, probably a solid one. I can see West Ham trying to be like one of the bigger clubs. They're trying to sign a lot of, top class players. And then we're going to move on to the next player that West Ham could potentially sell. Is going to be Reece Oxford, who is connected with Manchester United because apparently Jose Mourinho wants him. And he's not in FIFA. Okay, I didn't notice that, but Oxford could definitely go to United. He's a very young player. He's only like 17 years old. The next player is going to be Enner Valencia, who is apparently unhappy in West Ham currently, and then he is strongly connected with Serie A clubs such as Lazio. No, it's the wrong Valencia. There we go. We've got the Enner Valencia here, who could possibly, he's got a lot of informed cards, who could possibly leave to Lazio, and I could definitely see it happening because obviously West Ham is trying to use Carroll more than Valencia, and then West Ham is connected with so many strikers, which I will talk about later on in the video. And then the next player who could possibly leave is Dimitri Payet, who's played very, very good in the Euros, which they, for France, unfortunately lost in the finals. But Dimitri Payet, definitely a very good player for West Ham. I think if West Ham sells Payet, they're definitely going to struggle next season. But I don't think this transfer is going to happen. He's connected with Real Madrid so far, but I don't think it's really going to happen. He's getting a little bit older, and then for West Ham, it's going to be a hard choice because this is probably the prime time to get the most amount of money for him, because he's 29. He's getting, that's the wrong Sakho. Well, we're going to have a look at Diafra Sakho, who's the next player. Hopefully I spelled this. Yep, it's Diafra Sakho, another striker for West Ham. And then he has apparently handed in a transfer request to West Ham, and then he's now connected with West Bromwich Albion with $30 million transfer. And then the next player is Sam Byram, who I'm not too sure he's in FIFA or not, but Arsenal is targeting him in case thank goodness he's in FIFA, but Arsenal is targeting him in case Bellerin moves to some clubs like Barcelona, who's looking for a new right back since Dani Alves has left. So since they will probably leave the club, let's move him out of the squad, except for Payet, which I will start off with. Payet on the left wing, he's going to start off there. He played very well there. He played there in the Euros as well. He's a very solid player. He's really improving a lot as well. And then the next player in the striker is going to be, so there's a lot of questions about this position. Now, for now, I think the strongest player who is connected with West Ham is going to be Carlos Bacca, who is apparently having a problem with West Ham because of the wage demands. Bacca wants a lot of wage, but West Ham is also connected with other strikers who they could potentially sign, some like Carlos Tevez, Van Persie, but Van Persie was already rejected by West Ham, so that's not going to happen. But they're also connected with Benteke, Lacazette, and Icardi from Inter Milan. So obviously West Ham is connected with a lot of strikers, and I think that's a really good move for West Ham. And then I think West Ham fans should definitely be excited about all these signings happening, because I think this is like a very big step to going to like one of the bigger clubs. And then we're going to move on to the midfielders, and then in the left centre mid is going to be Emmanuel Lanzini, and then he has played very decent for West Ham last season, scoring some few goals as well. And then currently he is in the Argentina's World Cup, not the World Cup squad, I'm sorry, the Olympic squad, not the World Cup, the Olympic squad, because Lanzini is definitely and then he could definitely play well in the Olympics as well, so could watch out for that. There's even more football games to watch. It's probably starts in like August and stuff, But moving on to the other centre mid is Mark Noble, and then yes, he's getting a little bit old, but he's not getting too old. Like, he's only 29 years old. I don't think that's not too bad. And then he's very good at penalties. He just has the compassion. West Ham needs him in the starting lineup. And then moving on to the defensive midfielder position is also Kouyaté, who also, I think in my opinion, played very well for West Ham. You know, he's the strong player, getting a lot of headers, defensive player. I think West Ham really needs this player. Oh, I accidentally went out. But I think West Ham really needs this player as well in the starting lineup. And then, but West Ham is also connected with players like Hutchinson, and then West Ham has also signed Nordtveit already from Borussia Mönchengladbach, so maybe he could, you know, start in one of these midfielder positions. And then moving on to the left back is going to be Aaron Cresswell. To the right back is going to be Michail Antonio. He's a winger, if you can see here, but he plays on right back now, which I thought was questionable at first, but he actually plays pretty decent there. I think he's going to play there for next season as well. You know, West Ham have already signed classy wingers such as Feghouli, and then also they have signed Touré from Besiktas, so I'm really excited for West Ham season. And then moving on to the centre back, this is another transfer that could potentially happen, is Thomas Vermaelen from Barcelona. He obviously doesn't play for Barcelona a lot, and then now he's connected with West Ham, and he could finally return to the Premier League. And then for the next centre back, there's a choice of Ogbonna and Winston Reid, but I think Winston Reid is going to be the one who's going to start for West Ham. And in goalkeeper positions is going to be Adrian, who made a lot of good saves last season for West Ham. And the West Ham, I think, did very good last season, and then they somehow made into Europa League as well, so we could definitely look forward to that as well. And then in the sub box is going to be, the first substitute is, I think, is going to be Andy Carroll is probably not going to leave, because I haven't seen any links as well, and I see no reason where Andy Carroll's going to go anyway. So Andy Carroll, now, because West Ham needs to keep him, because Andy Carroll is like a game changer. Like, when you're having problems, if Andy Carroll goes in, then, you know, it's guaranteed that he's going to get a lot of headers, and then it definitely, how do you say, puts pressure on defender more. He hasn't really got the pace, but he definitely has the heading ability. And then for the next player is going to be Ogbonna. It's either going to be Ogbonna or Winston Reid. Whoever doesn't start is going to be on the bench, quite obviously. And the next player is going to be Obiang, who plays for West Ham sometimes. I don't think he really plays a lot for the club though. And with solid midfielders like Lanzini, Noble, and they even signed a Nordtveit and also Kouyaté, potentially Hutchinson as well. I think Obiang's going to stay at the bench. And then the next player is going to be, speaking of Nordtveit, we're going to add him to the squad because he is newly signed from Borussia Mönchengladbach. And I do not know a lot about him. He's a centre back apparently. I do not know a lot about this guy. That's why I didn't really put him anywhere in the position. But he could potentially start for West Ham as well. Who knows? And then the next player is going to be Randolph, who played in the Euros. And then I haven't really seen Republic of Ireland play a lot. Darren Randolph, I think, it is this guy. It is exactly the same card. Why is there two of the same cards? Who knows? But I'll just choose the first one anyway. But now, even though I don't think he played too terribly, but I think Adrian is a better keeper, and Adrian's probably going to start for West Ham. And then the next player is going to be also the newly signed Touré, Gorkan Touré. And then he's a little bit of a dodgy guy. From what I've heard, he's the one who drew a gun at Calhanoglu, but you know, it's just a rumor. I'm not too sure if that is completely true. But anyway, they have signed Touré for a 1-year loan. You know, I think it's a decent transfer as well, since West Ham, you know, after, you know, connected with Diafra Sakho leaving, they're also connected with Enner Valencia leaving. They need a new winger, and then they've got one with Touré. And then the next player is going to be, a lot of things could definitely change in the reserves and the subs, so I'm not really going to go too deep into that, but I'm just going to talk about more about who West Ham could possibly sign at the striker. Obviously, I've already mentioned Bako, who I think is the highest potential to sign for West Ham. There's also Carlos Tevez, Benteke, Lacazette, and Icardi. Very interesting for West Ham. I'm really excited for West Ham this coming season, because I can obviously see that they're trying to be like a bigger club. We're trying to sign all those key top players. So this will be it for today's video. If you have enjoyed it, please hit the like button, subscribe, and goodbye.